Hello, welcome to Amateur Hour. Week 4 is upon us. Deion Sanders is the greatest gift to college football coaching. Am I right, guys?
I'm done. I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, baby.
Thank you for continuing the tradition of bad audio away from your microphone, Joey. So
It's the only mic I got this week.
How did we go from having maybe the greatest podcast we've ever had Monday to the shittiest one on Wednesday night in the first 30 seconds?
2 words. Uncle Joe.
I'm done. I'm out of here. I quit.
You're just not prime material.
I'm changing my my handle to just back to Trent. I'm done with this.
That's it. Just Trent, because
Just
being
Trent.
prime like me and Joey. We're gonna get copyright struck, and we're gonna lose all, like $12 maybe we make on this one. This is the hit.
Hey, we mentioned Deion. Of course, we're going to sell stuff now.
Of course we are.
Sunglasses,
We'll get into it.
everything
What? Yeah. Well, we'll get into it because we will definitely talk about him at the top just so we can get her out of the way. But do appreciate everyone joining us here on Amateur Hour. It was I'll be honest, that was a surprisingly good week 3 for what I thought on the slate of games that we had. The Colorado one was obviously the peak, but how much did you guys watch last weekend? Did you get a few games in?
I got 2 or 3. That's about it.
Yeah.
I played in a 27-hole golf tournament, so I didn't have to watch the dumpster fire that the Iowa State game was.
Yeah.
So by the time that was over, I was home and watching football with the neighbors across the street, so got to see a lot of the Bama game. He's an Alabama fan, so they struggled.
going.
That's Southern Florida for you, dude. Though those bowls, they're pretty tough. I'm telling you.
It must be.
Hook 'em horns, right?
Hook 'em horns, exactly. So, I would say this one is a little bit more of a difficult trivia question. I saw it on Saturday, but I'm gonna see if you guys can get it here. So far, throughout 3 weeks of college football, there's only been 2 teams that have run 100% of their snaps from the shotgun. Can you name both of them? And I'm just going to give you the clues right now. One is in the American, one is in the Sun Belt.
The Fun Belt. Somebody didn't have this whited out on the agenda, so I saw it.
I did. What are you talking about?
I saw it as well.
It is whited out now, but it was not when I looked.
I didn't
I
see
didn't.
it, if that means anything.
Well, then, Joey, it's your answer, then, buddy.
All right, I'm going to go UTSA for the American. Tulane? All right, I don't know for that one. Sun Belt. Oh, God. Man, I don't know. I didn't watch either of those conferences. I'm going to make a guess, though. Give me a second. Fuck, where's the Sun Belt? There it is. I'm going to go... It's not App State. South Alabama.
One of them, okay. One of them, the mascot is the Hilltoppers.
Oh, Western Kentucky.
All right. The Monarchs is the second one.
Ooh.
And they're a trucking company.
Not the Butterfly.
Are they more a trucking company or college football team?
Old Dominion.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
I was hoping that like the Bailey Zappi and all these like quirky guys that have like 6,000 yards passing was going to make that one the easy one, but I'll make it a little easier for next week. I do apologize, guys.
Yeah, get it whited out.
Yeah.
That's what I get for looking at the agenda.
Yeah, looking too early. Do we want to start with Colorado, or do we want to get Caitlin Clark out of the way?
No, we've talked about Colorado enough.
I have a trivia question. Can you tell me what game is ESPN's highest rated regular season TV game and 5th game of all time?
Was it this year?
Yep. It was just last weekend.
I can tell you.
Come on, Trent.
Deion Sanders. Colorado,
9 million
Colorado.
viewers. I I think it said like 9 million viewers.
9.3 million at its peak. Highest rated
Yep.
ESPN regular season game of all time.
I thought it had over 11 at its peak.
Oh, maybe it did. My bad.
I'll let you know, I was not one of them.
No. Early on, it was very. I wouldn't say it was very. Well, let's just throw the score up there. But Colorado won 43-35 in double overtime. That was a very fun game at the beginning. But boy, like I always thought, like, oh, Iowa State, heated rivalry. But both coaches kind of have them. Hey, don't be a jackass out there. Whoa, they were kind of letting them play. But man, it was that was more than scrappy. There was a couple like pretty nasty plays, and they were going just all out there.
Right. Yeah, they looked. It was very chippy. I'm not a fan of how, I don't know, dirty the game got, I guess. Now, I know it's a rivalry game, but I mean, we're two fan bases here that have a rivalry game every year, and we don't see that happening. Like, there's never a bunch of dirty hits and shit. As much as I want to punch Seneca Wallace in the face, that never happened. So
it only ended in a lacerated liver.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
There's only one lacerated liver in that game.
I mean, there's literally 22 livers on the field at any given moment.
Well, 21 for Colorado. Travis Hunter plays both ways.
Right.
True.
But no, I don't know. That one was very, all week you had the coaches that were coming in on it. They had game. Well, I was just gonna say game day. Every single network was there. It was. I mean, it was just a complete show. They were talking shit before the show. I mean, Travis Hunter before the game was like, it was something like "Get your weight up," little boy. I mean, they were just yelling at each other. They were scrapping before. I mean, that was. It was, I think someone said it was basically WWE of college football. And it was a fun watch for the first couple hours. And then it was just, I'll be honest, I lost interest at 11 o'clock. It's like, can this fucking game, speed up?
Yep.
Because it was way too damn late unless you were in Mountain or Pacific time. I think it was 2 when the game finally ended.
Yeah, we stayed up to watch UFC, and we fell asleep before the co-main event of that. So I didn't even see even close to the end of the Colorado State game. So I watched the highlights the next day, but man, yeah, it was a long, long night.
So, I mean, the big one that everyone's talking about is the late hit from the DB for Travis Hunter. Do you think that one was bad, or do you think that was as close as I don't know. I think everyone, my opinion, kind of overreacted to being a late hit, and we've seen that in games. Or do you think that was so egregious that he should be suspended and like everyone else was trying to say?
I think this should be cut right in the middle. Like, we don't need if there's a suspension, just do one game. But overall, it's not like it's not like it's supposed to be not on purpose. It was kind of on purpose, but not on purpose. But I don't know. I just feel like the hype also brings it all up, like you were saying, like the late hit and everybody overreaction to it. So
yeah, that guy is getting like death threats now.
Yeah,
the death threats are stupid.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Travis Hunter, he was streaming in like a giraffe onesie, like breaking this down. He's like, end of the day, it's football. We all get hit, and I think that's the mature way to go about it. I think if it was like a spectrum of like, here is too early of a hit, too late of a hit, here's the middle. I think it was just ever so late. Yeah. I mean, you could tell it's blatant, but also if you're Colorado State and you've heard all week how you're going to lose by 24 points, you're 0-1, everything about you suck, Colorado's the greatest. You're going to be a little pissed off. So it was kind of nice seeing an actual game out of it. And it kind of makes me worry this weekend about, I mean, after watching that game, I think Colorado is going to get destroyed, especially without Travis Hunter this weekend.
Oh, yeah. So I'm rewatching the hit right now. It's pretty egregious. I agree with Dave. I like a 1-game suspension for that. I don't think it's that bad unless there's all the talking. My favorite thing of the whole clip is the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, running down the field and defending his guy. Like that's a dog. I know he's, either a dog or what's the other one? A leader. Yeah,
he's got an L.
He needs to be an LD for leader dog. He's the lead dog. But I don't know. I'm on the side of Deion's already surpassed everything that we expected out of him at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude sold $1.2 million worth of sunglasses. He's already patented 4 sayings. Like, he's brought, in the age of getting attention and putting out content and all that type of stuff, he has brought all that to Colorado, and it's already made that program way more special than it has been since, I don't know, fucking 1994. Like, it's amazing how they turned it around so damn quick. Are they going to lose probably the next 2 weeks? Probably. And they're probably going to lose big, especially to USC. But I don't know. I'm on the fence I'm on the side of Deion's already done it, man. He looks good. I don't think he's going to be there. Maybe not even next year, to be honest with you.
You think he leaves after 1 year?
Really? You guys think that?
I called it in one of our earlier podcasts. I'm like, I didn't say after 1 year, but I said as soon as he has a decent year, like takes Colorado from what they were 3-9 last year.
Yep.
If he can get them to 6-6, 7-5, there's going to be other bigger schools calling with more money.
And I mean, and no offense to them going to the Big 12, but say an SEC, say Texas A&M screws the pooch for the rest of the year and Jimbo Fisher's out.
Mm-hmm.
Why not go to Texas A&M? They're not going to go to Florida State. Florida State's on an upturn, and they're already sucking Norvell dick. So he's going to go where the money goes, and Texas A&M is going to have a ton of it. There's Big Ten schools that are going to be looking for new coaches next year. Wisconsin's going to probably be looking for a new coach. I mean, there's going to be money thrown around, and there's national pundits out there right now saying he may not make it to the end of the year there. Like, he may sign somewhere else already by the end of the year. Like, not even take the team bowling type of thing.
He's going to be like the players and not coaching the bowl game.
Yeah.
I've heard of one school that overpays overhyped Colorado coaches, and they're in the Big Ten, and they happen to be looking for a coach right now.
Who's that?
Michigan State. That's where Mel Tucker came from.
Right. Yeah.
Prime coming. That's going to be their new thing.
Yeah. Well, if there's anything we know about Prime, he has no secrets because everything's out in the open. So, I mean, at least he won't.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be openly harassing people instead of doing it, via cell phone.
So
as much
as a hater that I am here. Excuse me. One of my coworkers and I were talking about this work today, and he was, we're talking about Deion and the whole sunglasses thing and all this, and and I'm like, you know what? He told all those players to transfer, whatever, get out of here. Like, a real coach would keep those players and build them. And then I said, I was like, you know what? But if he was at Iowa State, I would be eating that shit up. Like, I would be on the other side of the fence.
Now, one thing that, because I think we're getting a little too now we're going full swing opposite. We're big haters, now we're getting too big of lovers. I do have to say one thing with all these cameras that are around, and they're capturing every moment. And you see The Rock on the sideline and in the locker room, and it's personal. He brought his mama into the locker room, and Norvell said she didn't raise him right, and all that. Can he just do one thing that every normal coach does, and it's not blown up to be the greatest thing since sliced bread or creating the air raid offense? I made a list at the very bottom of our agenda here of things I just saw today. I didn't even keep track of this all week, but these are things that people are like commenting on. This is why he's the king. This is why he's the GOAT. Crowns, everything. This is out of the realm. Holy shit, this is amazing coaching. The first thing, not condoning death threats to opposing players. Fucking Deion equals GOAT with that lesson here. Playing loud music in practice to simulate stadium noises.
You get fined for that in the NFL.
And young 18 to 22-year-olds like to listen to loud music when they work out?
He's
What?
playing loud rap and hip hop to simulate Oregon this week. I have never heard of any coach playing loud noises to simulate stadium noises. I'm glad I'm sitting down. I might keel over if I would have heard that standing up.
Dude is reinventing the game.
Being 37, that is atrocious. Like, you need to be dead silent.
I want to hear a pin drop.
Yes.
What is this, a Bart McNeil baseball practice?
These young kids just need to knock it off.
Yeah, these damn whippersnappers and hoodlums.
Yeah.
Last one that I have, and again, this is only from like the last day. Telling players to respect women and not to hit women. I mean, riveting stuff. Who would have thought?
Greatest coach of all time.
Greatest coach. Saban who?
Yeah.
That was another thing that bothered me. I didn't even watch the 60 Minutes story because I saw a 8-second clip of them going, well, who's the greatest college football coach of all time? Where's the mirror?
Okay, gee.
Dude. You've coached 2 1/3 and a quarter of seasons, and you're the greatest coach. Hey, you can make arguments about recruiting. Holy fuck, amazing recruiter. You can bring a number 1 recruit to a HBCU. You can bring all these players in. You rebuilt Colorado. That is an amazing story. But to upend a 7-time national championship coach that's still coaching right now, I don't care how confident you are. That's just fucking stupid.
Well, just wait till after they lose the next 2 weeks. It's going to be. It's going to be. Does he even know how to call timeouts? What's he doing? What offense is he doing?
Smithers.
Yeah.
Does he know how to play football? Does he even know what a football is? That's what it's going to be the next 2 weeks.
This is me being a hater because we have no offense, and I just watched them fucking run a field in 50 seconds, going 85 yards. But like, who would have thought putting all your chips on one player playing 120 snaps a game every single game, and he gets injured, and all of a sudden you're not as good? Who would have thought that was a bad strategy? You lose 2 starters in once, man. Like, he is the all-star best player in your team. Who would have thought that would have backfired? That him being out was a very bad thing.
You know what? It took them 2 overtimes to score 1 more point than Iowa. So, yeah. Look at that offensive breakout.
By the way, Colorado State should have won for 2. That was just the biggest pussy shit. You do not have the athletes to compete with Colorado at that point. You're all gassed. You just proved your defense allowed 80 yards in the last 50 seconds. And let's go to 2 overtimes. We have control of this ball right now. Everyone would have been happy losing by 1 in first overtime, then losing by 8 in 2 overtimes.
Yep. That was the second dumbest call of the week, other than the delay of game penalty that made the Missouri field goal 61 yards instead of 56.
Yeah. They are excited down there, man. Did you get your commemorative T-shirt?
I didn't. I saw you put that on there. But yeah, I found out that they're not playing Kansas State for another like 10 to 15 years. So kudos.
Well, you got to commemorate those regular season wins when you can, because you can't really get them too well in the postseason.
Yep.
They don't play Iowa in the postseason.
That's right.
I don't know. I don't like that E-Ray Drinkowitz.
Yep.
Dirkowitz, I don't care.
I was talking to my girlfriend's dad about this, and he's a hell of a recruiter, and especially with Missouri signing the NIL deal that if you stay in state, you can get NIL as a senior in high school. That helps a lot. He's a terrible coach. He is a terrible in-game coach.
He's just a goober, man.
Yeah. Out of a timeout, you have a 56-yard field goal, and you can't get your team out there lined up without a delay of game. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That is, and it makes it that much cooler when he made it. But it was just like you said, that if that would have landed anywhere within 5 yards short of that, there might have been a hot seat logo immediately on him.
The only time that's acceptable is if the thicker kicker came up to you and said, "Nope, I want 61." That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Which one isn't he? He's the thicker kicker,
Yep,
isn't he?
He's the thicker kicker.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you meant Janikowski for a second.
No,
Like,
no, if that kid came up to him and said, "No, I'll take the penalty, coach. I got this. I want 61."
How far was that kick that the Raiders make him do? It was 76-yard field goal. Did you guys ever see that?
It was so short.
Oh man.
That might have been one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. He's lining up past the logo to try and kick it, and I don't think it was remotely close. But
probably not.
if anyone could do it, it was Janikowski. So, well, Trent, should we get it out of the way here?
Might as well.
Yeah. The Ohio Bobcats 10, Iowa State 7. Ohio covered plus 2.5, under 42 points. Real big shocker on that one. At one point in the game, the over-under live was 19.5 points.
And the under still would have hit.
Sadly, I was like, I'm going to wait for the under to hit. Like, I knew it likely wouldn't hit 17, but I'm like, I'm going to wait till it gets super low, and then I'm hitting that over because I was all for us coming back in the second half. Thank God I didn't do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that was atrocious, dude. I mean, it was – I know you missed it. Dave, Joey, did either of you catch this by chance? It was on only streaming, so I doubt it. But
I sure as hell did not.
Yeah. So, I mean, you start with – we already have 5 starters out because of the gambling thing, so it's a bit of a younger team. I believe it was 6 players, including our starting wide receiver and starting running back, had norovirus actively during the game. Rocco Beck still did play.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think he played great considering he had a stomach virus and throwing up. He didn't even go into the locker room at halftime, but throwing up the whole time. He looked as solid as you can be as a young guy against that defense. I mean, give Ohio credit. It's a Big 12 school losing to a MAC school.
Yeah.
I've already come to terms with how bad that is. But if we're going to look at our Iowa State schedule and we're 1-2 and we were thought potentially bowling this year, it's you beat a disciplined UNI team very handily as you should. You lose to an Iowa team by 7 that won 9 games last year, won their bowl game, very disciplined team. And you lost to an Ohio team that had 9 wins, won their conference. I can't remember if they won their bowl game, but, disciplined team with a senior quarterback. I mean, I'm going to give them all the credit, and their touchdown was set up by one of their interceptions. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong that day.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't see any of it. I was playing in a golf tournament, but like looking at stats, it's the running backs averaged under 1 yard per carry.
Yeah, well, we're trying to establish the run,
Well, if you're averaging under 1 yard per carry, don't be so stubborn. Like, go away from it.
Yes.
That drives me crazy. Like the coaching, like don't get me wrong. Like I still think Matt Campbell's a great coach, but what has changed? Like they got rid of Manning, and this looks like last year's team. Like nothing has changed. I don't know. Is Matt Campbell calling the plays and not Messingham? I don't know. Well,
resident expert in head coaching, meddling with offensive coordinator Joey or Dave, can you guys speak to this?
Well, there's no nepotism going on. So.
Yeah.
Well, true.
I was gonna say it's not family related.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd go away from it. So what I had heard listening to podcasts, they tried to run the ball the first 3 quarters and obviously nothing. And then in the fourth quarter, they finally started throwing the ball, spreading the field, and looked good. Why did we go 75% of the game with trying what didn't work over and over and over? Maybe it'll work next time. I don't know. Nope, didn't work.
I've been watching, and when we look our best, it's the 15 scripted plays to start off. Then they try to establish the run, doesn't work, and they're trying to force Norton, who is a good player, but we don't have a line that can create the gaps, that can create enough space for him to do something, And they, like you said, they're getting very stubborn with, we need to establish the run before we can pass. You need to establish a pass before you start running, because they're just going to crowd in, because all we're doing is shallow crossers. We're doing draws. We're not doing anything where we're going to rush the ball immediately. It's an RPO doesn't work if you only hand it off to the running back every time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change it up where Beck runs a little bit, or where you're passing it. And it's just, I don't know, man, it's becoming very, very predictable. and we're not going to win. Sadly, after even seeing this mess of an offense, we're not going to win many games in the Big 12 because we do still play Baylor and Oklahoma State this weekend. So if we can get something changed over this weekend and get our confidence up, we can probably still win a couple more games. But if we play like we did Saturday and refuse to get out of our own way, we're not going to.
No. Yeah, you can't just keep trying the same thing over and just running in to the line and it was bad. Yeah, spread the field, open things up. I think Rocco Becht is accurate. I think he's a good enough quarterback to win football games. We hear about this offensive line coach, we're going to be violent.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything violent. The only violence is my eyes watching this line try and block.
Their pass blocking is great. They've only given up 1 sack all year. So play to your strength here.
I got a question. I got 2 actually. How old's Matt Campbell?
I think he's 38.
Okay, so he's relatively our age. Like, why did he not play NCAA football? Don't you know when you can't move the ball in NCAA, you ask Corso? Does he not have an Ask Corso button? Like, what he should do next?
Matt Campbell is 43.
It's even more. So, and the second one, I know you guys probably are going to get there, but was your defense pretty good? Because that Curtis Rourke is a hell of a quarterback. He just doesn't have a lot of weapons. That you guys held him to 135 yards. So
we gave him a very short field on an interception. So that was the one lone touchdown. But otherwise, they are. I always am shocked at how well the 3-3-5 stops the run as well. And once there's no running, and you can kind of, you know what it is, you have 8 guys in position for blocking defending the pass. They look at phenomenal, and it's just. I know it sounds familiar, guys, but this elite defense is being wasted on a putrid offense. It's just, the thing, and I think we said it last week when we played Iowa. Where Iowa won last year was having an elite defense that scored points, but also had special teams that were consistent. And that's where we're losing these games is our special teams are much better in, kickoff, punt returns, punting. We got the best punter in the nation. Sorry, Joey. He's up there. But, we have these solid special teams except for the kicker. He's made kicks of 42, I think 48, and 56. Everything below that he's missed. I've never seen a school that can have such consistent problems in the kicking game. And right now, 3 points was the big issue. That wins this game. We had 2 missed field goals. That wins this game.
We had one.
We have another
one missed.
What's that?
One missed field goal.
Oh, in this game? Oh, I think
the other one was good, and they called it no good. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Insane. How do the refs get that wrong?
Because the goalpost goes to infinity, and you have to lean towards it missing. And
that TV angle looked like it was pretty freaking good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw that TV angle. It looked like a solid 2 feet good. Like it wasn't even close to being outside of the goalpost.
Yeah, man.
I guess if it was me, if I was kicking, I would have just kicked it in the middle of the goalpost. But crazy concept. No, I don't know, man. It was just one of these where it was such a kick to the shorts. You're watching this game. It's like, all right, we're going to get 3 because we had 0 at that point. We're going to get 3. We have a solid defense with like 4 minutes left, and we miss it. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? We're there. What I have to remember, and me and Trent talked about this, between the gambling and between the sickness on Saturday, we're down 7 starters from what we thought in spring ball. We got to be patient, and I honestly the only other thing I got to know is or I got to do is stay off of Twitter because people are so fucking stupid on there. I saw so many people. We need to fire Matt Campbell now. No offense, who the fuck do you think you are, Iowa State fans?
Yeah.
Thinking you're going to do better than Campbell right now.
We getting Dion?
Ooh.
Prom time?
Is that the school he's going to leave Colorado for mid-season?
Trent, will you
Iowa
then
State?
wear sunglasses?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, if he was Iowa State's coach, I would eat that shit up. But I can't stand it because he's not Iowa State's coach. So,
Yeah. It's easy to shit on him. Because guess what? When Matt Campbell was talking town, we were what we were saying, Fiesta Bowl and shit,
Right.
And everyone's like, okay, wait till you come back to earth. And look where we are now. And it's fine.
See,
we've had our success.
See how straight the bill is here. The more Iowa State wins, the more curved it gets, like Matt Campbell's hat. And we're not winning, so.
I like that.
Matthew's calling the pizza man. Is that Mangino? Is that what you're... I don't know who the pizza man is.
I don't either.
Let's know what you mean, man. I'm not sure, but
Papa
yeah,
John's?
I don't know. It's Papa John's. Yeah. Oh God, get him away from any program. He's already gotten his name taken off of one stadium.
Right.
Yeah, Mangino. It's I don't know if Matthews knew. Mangino used to wear some 5XL polos on our sideline a few years ago with Paul Rhodes, and
that offense
kicked out of town.
might have been worse than this one. And he is supposed to be like the offensive genius,
Remember remember the 09 Orange Bowl with Kansas? Let's not do that. It was just terrible. You want to see another bubble? I don't ever want to see another bubble screen in my life, Trent, after the Paul Rhodes era.
I was at the game in Manhattan where what did he tweet? The fat lady is sung or something like that because he was fired the game before. And then Iowa State blew like a 20-point lead in the last 3 minutes. I was there in Manhattan, Kansas.
Just terrible.
Oh.
But terrible. I don't know. Did you see the video of that fan chirping Paul Rhodes?
Yes.
Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, chirping Matt Campbell, not Paul Rhodes.
Yeah.
That dude's an Iowa fan in an Iowa State jersey.
No chance.
Try to convince me otherwise.
Call me conspiracy theorist. That's not an Iowa State fan.
I don't think it is because you could tell that guy was saying that, and Matt Campbell turned around, and that guy looked like he was going to turn and run until the players held him up, and then the big shit-eating grin on his face when he looked at the camera. That dude was not an Iowa State fan. I probably wasn't an Iowa fan, but he was not an Iowa State fan.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I mean that was just the smirk at the end. That's where I was like watching this, and I was like, how does anyone watch a grown ass man have to cower behind his buddy? I'm talking about the pipsqueak.
Mm-hmm.
How he has to wait for a man that's about 20, 25 feet away, then like a coward yell at his back something, and then have a smirk because he knows there's no consequences. It's just trolling in real life is all he's doing.
Yeah,
right.
We all know that guy. He's the guy. He's the little twerp in your gang that starts fights at the bar and then expects there's Mangino, and then expects his buddies to fight for him. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty pathetic, and I just couldn't believe that. I don't know. I just couldn't believe how much national attention that brought out because it was just everyone's go should have left when he had the chance. Should have left when he had the chance, and it just. The snare I want to bring up to you guys is imagine you just had the worst day of work in your life and you're walking out of work and you just want to go home. You just want to get the fuck out of here. And someone's standing by your car going, "You're going to get fired. You suck. You're going to get fired." And everyone's shocked that he reacted like a human. I don't know. I would rather him have acted like a human there and been, "What the fuck did you just say?" than stoic like he was all game and just walk to the locker room and ignore it. I don't know. Hopefully he got a little bit of fire underneath him, but that just kind of fucking pissed me off.
Yeah, I mean, he's pissed too,
Mm-hmm. Don, real quick, any unders that we like for the week? Bet Iowa State unders all year. Iowa, I guess you're gonna have to know the line and who they're playing, but I don't know. If you bet our two teams, usually the under is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think that's enough bitching on this game. I'm I'm looking forward to this upcoming game, and we'll talk to it. Pass to the past. Let's just bury this one, man.
Dig a big old grave.
Dig a big old grave. Yeah, let's play this here real quick. Yeah, I mean,
Look at that.
If you can see that shit-eating grin and go, no, that's definitely an Iowa State fan with the brand new hat and Mardi Gras beads and a jersey from 5 years ago. I think I might have that jersey, actually.
Where the
Butler?
hell is this taken? Like, were they playing at a high school field?
Well, it was at Ohio Stadium.
I know.
Or whatever the hell
that
it's
was the
called.
joke.
Remember, we're at a MAC school here. So, yeah, it's not like you have the Jack Trice and there's actual security and stuff. Yeah, you're just walking to the locker room next to the fans that are also walking to their cars.
I thought it was just another deep fake like we've been getting all fucking week with Dabo and Brian Ferentz. That shit got me hard. I mean, not real hard. You know, it did not get me erect. It fooled me.
God, looked like our offense was a Brian Ferentz on offense today.
The Brian Ferentz one actually had me fooled. I was like, dude, that's got to be him.
The one where he's the fake thing when he was like, y'all can get out your little step ladders and crawl out of my
Just
ass.
kidding. It was actually me that was the fan. I have that exact same jersey.
Yep. That
looking.
Yeah.
But no, those deep fakes are getting too good.
Man, it's scary for an election year coming up. That's real scary.
Joey, we're talking about college football. That's the most important thing in the world ever. You know,
I agree. I agree.
There's no way anyone would ever use this for political gain. You know,
fake news.
They only do it for memes.
Fake news.
Fake. I did get a kick out of the no one tells the Fiesta Bowl champ what the hell he's going to do in the Conor McGregor thing. That might have been worth it just to get that sentence out there. But,
who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, who the fuck is this guy? He said something. It was like, I think it's like a Trailer Park Boys reference. Is like, I'll send you back to like Sunnyvale or some shit.
Yep, Sunnyvale Trailer Park. Hell yes.
Yeah. So. Well, shit. Well, let's talk about something positive here, boys. Does Iowa have an offense? Question mark.
Get him, Dave.
I really liked seeing it, but with Lachey out and all that, it went from being awesome to like, well, this kind of sucks. But maybe it's how they were actually going, like moving the ball. Maybe even without Lachey, they can still do that. Maybe without the two running backs, maybe they still can do that. Maybe there's a lot of maybes up in the air. Like maybe Brian Ferentz wants to stay there, but I don't know. It was nice to see for a game though. Like I watched pretty much all of it on YouTube Live. I finally got that, so I can kind of keep up with the real world of sports.
Hell yeah!
I noticed one thing though was. One thing I noticed is that after listening to the game, you got to listen to Dolph and
Podolak.
The Iowa
them.
Hell yeah!
The one thing I noticed is that their defense is still really good, but we said that like in week one, they don't really have a lineman on the defensive line that has stood out yet, which is kind of a little scary.
I agree.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely a tale of two games. The first half, I was by myself on the couch just watching it, chilling, and I was so pissed off. Like our defense was giving up long play after long play. Our offense still wasn't clicking. And I mean, at the end of the day, McNamara still only had 103 yards passing, but we did have a hell of a run game. So I'm still waiting for McNamara to get in sync with everybody. Now that Lachey's out, he doesn't have a safety valve anymore. Eric All did actually lead everyone with 34 receiving yards off of one catch. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I'm with Dave. There's a lot of maybes up in the air. I was texting Bryant about this earlier this week. I think that we play Penn State really close in the first half. We always play Penn State really good anyway. But I think with the lack of depth that we have along that defensive line, and we don't have any like Cooper DeJean's awesome, and we got a bunch of other secondary people that are usually pretty good. They looked abnormally bad against Western Michigan in the first half for some reason. But I think if we play a perfect game, I think we can beat Penn State. But I don't know, with the lack of depth that we have, and especially with all the injuries, I just don't see us pulling this one out. But that doesn't mean that the season's over. I mean, we're 3-0. We're scoring points again, and we'll see what happens, man.
You scored double the points that you scored last year at this point,
right?
So, I agree, Dave. You talked about the defensive linemen, and usually what I notice from Iowa, it seems like every year here is your stud. That this is going to be who was it, Riley Moss last year, and then Cooper comes up. Hey, here's going to be our stud here, and then there's always a star that comes up, like Lucas Van Ness. I know he wasn't a starter, but he was a solid enough contributor where he got drafted. Or Jack Campbell. I'm sorry, that was the linebacker I was thinking of. But it always seems like, hey, here's like this year. Here's Deshaun Cooper. He's going to be back, or he's going to be back. He's going to be our star that we come around. And there hasn't been that guy that's kind of.
There hasn't been the shadow. They always have like a really stud defensive player, and then there's always a shadow that is able to follow and do the same thing. And this year you don't have that.
Yep. I do think that our linebacker core overall and our secondary overall is probably better than we've had in the years past. I think Nick Jackson is finally coming around. I really like Kyler Fisher on the outside too. And obviously our secondary is normally good. But yeah, I think that our defensive line is definitely worse than it normally is, like you're talking about. But we don't have, other than Cooper, we don't really have that stud at every level that we normally do.
And you're still, and we've talked about it before, and I know it kind of sounds like shit talking, but it's like, this isn't a good Iowa defense that you typically have. This is, if you're going to compare it to the last 4 years of Iowa defenses, this is below average,
Definitely.
So I mean, they're still good. I think they're still like 20th in the country right now.
Yep, something like that.
And that's going to be that bit of the sacrifice where you've been focusing on offense, where you've closed the gap a little bit, but and especially this upcoming match that you have versus Penn State, you're going to have to be perfect on the defensive side, because who are the starters that got injured in the Western Michigan game?
Luke Lachey, the tight end, and the running back. God damn it! Why is that not on my brain?
Isn't there two running backs? It was the starter and they're not by committee, but it was like the second, third string guy too, right?
Yep. Give me a second. It's just not there.
No problem. But that's where hopefully this defense has had enough time where they're. I know they got a lot of fresh faces in there as well. I hope this is the week where they can kind of explode and hold Penn State to who they be.
Yes, Caleb Johnson and Kamari Moulton.
So, I don't know, man. I'm worried for this weekend, but I don't know, man. You guys have been covering your spreads. You've hit a couple overs now this year. They're looking They're looking all right. Penn State will be the first real test. Also, did you know you guys know, I just read it today when I was putting in the schedule at the bottom. Iowa only has 4 road games this year.
Total?
What?
Total.
No.
Really?
Yeah. At Penn State, and you can see the bottom. Michigan State home, Purdue home. At Wisconsin, Minnesota home, Northwestern home, Rutgers home, Illinois home, at Nebraska.
Like 4 home games in a row in the middle of the conference season.
Wow, that's dope. I did not know that. That's awesome.
Well, next weekend I'll be going to a game live too, so that'll be great to see it in person.
Which game are you going to?
I'm going to the Iowa Michigan State. Yep.
Hell yeah, man! That should be a dub for you. I mean, especially with where Michigan State is right now, coachless, and
I'm excited because it's a night game, so I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. to get down to Iowa City. So
you can start tailgating 6 hours early at noon.
Yeah, and be sober to come home.
Hell yeah, man! Yeah, and it's against Michigan State, which we should beat. So that's even better for you.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah!
I even got a brand new sweatshirt in case it's cold, which it could be. So I got a brand new Hawkeye sweatshirt. So.
Look at you.
Well, actually, I know I have it in the wrong order. Let's just jump into Iowa Penn State since we're in it. Iowa is a 15-point underdog at Penn State this weekend. Over-unders went down from like 43 down to 40.
Mm-hmm.
6:30 primetime on CBS, boys.
Hell
You
yeah.
excited?
Very.
Have you been watching any of the CBS broadcast yet? Does it still feel weird hearing that music and it's Big Ten football?
Very much. Very much.
It's
I'm
very
used to
strange.
that CBS SEC network stuff coming on like Thanksgiving weekend. I'm like, oh, yes, cool. CBS SEC, Bama, Georgia. Let's play this.
Nope. Rutgers, Maryland.
Right.
Thinking you're gonna be watching some NFL like players next year, a day early or a year early in college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're watching Does Maryland still have Tulia?
Tulia.
Yep.
Okay. And then Rutgers is still Rutgers. They looked all right. Well, the game I watched where they looked all right was versus Northwestern. So that wasn't much of a gauge, but Rutgers has been looking all right this year. I don't know if they're receiving any votes or anything, but
For maybe the first time in my lifetime, Rutgers has a better record than Alabama at one point in the season. That's crazy.
Yeah,
they almost had a better
it is
record.
weird.
I would say they almost had like a 2-game lead on them with Alabama struggling versus South Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking Iowa, but did you guys hear that controversy where like they're thinking the players basically not gave up, but they just coasted that game because they're pissed off about that Buckner starting instead of Milroe? Or God, I'm getting the names mixed up.
No, you're right. But no, I haven't heard that.
So it sounds like, and it's one of these, Milroe had been starting all throughout camp. He was their starter for the first couple games. And, Tommy Rees did bring in this quarterback. So I'm sure that some of that came along with, Saban giving the guy a chance because it's South Florida. This is the game you can afford. And there's some rumors that a bunch of them were just like, you know what, fuck this. We like Milroe, man. Why the hell would we're not here for Buckner, the third string guy that you just want to give a chance. So they kind of phoned it in until the second half. And they're all 5 stars versus 2 stars. So they can do just enough to get by and get a 14-point win. But that's where it's all of a sudden, the rumor is that's why all of a sudden after this matchup, that's why Milroe was named starter almost immediately.
Man, that's one thing I can tell you from being a lifelong Iowa fan and having Kirk sit on a quarterback, even if he's just fucking terrible. That's the worst thing in the world. When a guy's bad and he needs to be, taken out, change things up, it's better to do it, try it, and then say, hey, we tried it and it doesn't work, and move on, put the guy back in type of thing. So that's my take.
I agree.
I would agree 100% with Joey.
Yeah, I mean, look what Peaches last year. Like at the end of the day, I felt bad for him because they just kept trotting him out there and not trying anything. And you're not exhausting all your options. So,
yeah. So I don't know, man. But are you thinking, Dave? I mean, honestly, I know Don's in the chat and he's talking about gambling. Do you think Iowa covers it all?
Boy, I think so. Yeah, I had to mull it over in my head there for a second. I believe they could cover. If they play good, if everything gets in motion, yeah. If there's a lot of screw-ups, no.
So,
but I'm going to go with yes, they do cover.
Over under 40.
I'm taking a bold take on it.
Over under 40, 15 points. What would that be to get just to the over?
27, 17, no. 27-13 would be right at the line.
Yeah.
So you're thinking 28-13 would be the spread in the over.
Yeah.
But
so 27-14. Cover the spread. Get the over.
You have Iowa covering the spread in the game.
Yeah.
Joey?
Oh, sorry.
No.
If that happens. That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
No, like I said earlier, I think they keep it close in the first half, but I think Penn State ends up running away with it. I honestly, at the beginning of the year, I was a little hesitant on putting them at the same level as Ohio State, Michigan. They've played way better than both those teams so far. I think Penn State's on a roll. I think it may be their year. We'll see. But yeah, I don't like either of those. But I would take the under first half and Iowa cover in the first half, and then getting blown out in the second half.
I think you're right with that. I feel Penn State is I have them in my playoff. I think they're the real deal, man.
Mm-hmm.
I
got.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say something, but
No, you go ahead, jump on in.
So
I'm
I got
looking at
the
the first half spread, anyways.
So I think I'm changing up how I've been over for all my guesses on the overs and the spreads or whatever. So I'm just going to change it up and go super bold that they can cover. But that's if everything gets going, which it can happen. Like I'm an Angels fan, so and Hawks have wings, so
Angels in the outfield, baby.
There it is.
Yeah. There you go. The Iowa spread in the first half is plus 7.5. I mean, I think you can keep it within a touchdown in the first half.
Oh,
yeah. It's just going to be is the loss of your tight end and two of your top three running backs going to be a big enough issue? I think in the second half, I think that's where it's going to start coming up. And I just think we've already talked about the Iowa defense being good, but it's not the great Iowa defense we're used to. I think Penn State's going to be able to expose that, man. Because no offense, I mean, your one big Power 5 team that you've played scored 13 points that could only score 7 versus Ohio.
Right.
So, I mean, that has got to be a concern. Now, I've watched your line. They're able to get off their blocks quick. I don't know, man. Penn State is a completely different beast.
I'd be surprised if the Iowa defense doesn't play way more aggressive than they have the rest of the year. They seem to do that for most of our big games. Remember when they laid the wood on Ohio State, Penn State 08? I mean, the defense is way more aggressive in those big games. They get beat more. They get beat deep more, but I do think I would not be surprised if you have maybe 3 Iowa turnovers in this game. Or 3 Penn State turnovers that Iowa gets. That's what I mean.
Well, I'm sorry, you're saying the opposite. I was going to say no offense, but it's all going to kind of come down to you brought in McNamara. You need to be the stud that that we expect you to be to give us somewhat of a chance. We're bringing it. Would you say he was the top transfer other than Shedeur Sanders, who he was going with Dad? But would you say he was the top quarterback transfer outside of that? DJ Uiagalelei.
Sam
He was
Hartman.
up there, I guess. Yeah, sorry. Never mind. He's
No.
dog shit compared to all these. No.
I honestly don't even know if he'd be in like top 5 or 10. But I said it at the beginning of the fucking year. I know I wasn't on your guys' first podcast, but until Brian's not in there, I don't know what's going to change. You could bring in Peyton Manning the way he was in college and just be lights fucking out. Vince Young could be in there. Vince Young would probably get benched because he's a running quarterback. We can't have that.
Don't you dare run the ball.
Mm-mm.
That's what I was thinking. The same thing. Like you could probably right now bring in whoever you want, and they're going to say you're going to throw 5 yards. You cannot throw past 7. You stay in the pocket.
Yep.
The only time you can throw past 7 is if we call a play that goes past the 10.
Yep.
Goes past 10 yards. Like there is no letting. After seeing last year, and not letting. I can't remember his name now. Last year, the guy that transferred out because he didn't get to play, which I don't blame him. But and then you bring in McNamara, and you still haven't allowed him to. You still have not allowed us to, or him to really throw the ball. Like there's been only 4 or 5 passes this whole season that have went over 25 yards. Everything else is still the quick short routes, run across the flat. It's until something changes, you're not going to get what you want out of a quarterback.
I'll put it this way. McNamara had 19 total attempts in the Western Michigan game. 19 attempts. That's just normal. That's normal Iowa football. It just doesn't happen. And until that scheme changes, it's going to be the same thing.
That was the game you needed to do some 4-minute offenses, some 2-minute offenses. And so what if you 3 and out it? You need to be able to no offense, can we do a little no huddle? Like if we absolutely have to, no timeouts. The Colorado situation, we have 50 seconds to get as much or as close as we can to a field goal. Can we do it without, I don't know. That's the type of game where you play your, 6-year seniors or these guys that you want to get some time. That's also when you need to be experimenting. You were with your backup offense this last week. You tried to score a touchdown to get the points up. That's when you need to, at least they're trying something. But like, man, you needed to, like you said, 19 attempts, dude. That's the day. Why don't you air it out, man? It's McNamara. We need to get some reps in. I know he's still rehabbing as well, I believe, but like, I don't know. It worries me coming into a game like this because they're going to be legit. I know Penn State's probably, easily the toughest game on your schedule left. But
now maybe we're all just idiots and Brian Ferentz is actually deep faking us and he has a whole playbook that we don't even know about. And they just go shotgun for the entire game and we're throwing it down to vines and we're just scoring touchdowns like crazy. But
he watched the old Dominion tape and he got excited.
Yeah.
He got inspired.
Man, I think it's this Rocky Mountain Air out here in Utah. I think I just got a little optimistic that Iowa would be a test.
Who are you?
I don't know. What the hell happened?
Yeah, you have
Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you have a chat with 4 people in it that 2 of them are Cyclone fans and 2 of them love shitting on Iowa, and Joey's the one that says the worst shit about the team. This is the guy that's getting optimistic?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Sorry, man, I think Penn State covers. That is just, you're missing too much offensive power right now. It's going to be tough.
Right. I agree.
So, well,
I think the defense.
let's talk about the toilet bowl to start the but right before the Iowa game. Oklahoma State, who just lost 33-7 at home versus South Alabama. By the way, the touchdown was scored in garbage time as well. They were up 33-0 at one point. They're coming into Ames as 3.5-point underdogs. Over/under at 36 at 3:00 on FS1. I'm going to start with this by saying I've already bet the under. I don't know. I mean, honestly, this game might make 10-7 from last week look like air raid. Might look like Mike Leach is out there calling plays.
Yeah, where does 36 come from here? I don't see it.
I don't. I mean, Oklahoma State, and they haven't committed to one. They're still running 3 quarterbacks.
If you have 2, you have 0. What do you got if you got 3?
If you have 3, you have -1, I think, is how
that the math?
transitive power works.
So they're basically saying it's 20-16 Iowa State. And that seems like a lot of points, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No offense. I think that's a lot of points considering how good our defense is. Now, you saw in the Iowa game, we can give up – sorry, not fluke. They can give up the big plays. Yep. But I don't see that happening. I mean, if you can't get a quarterback say yes to one and just get a rhythm in there, I don't know how that offense is even supposed to work. Mm-hmm. Like, there's legitimately people wondering, is Mike Gundy trying to do as bad of a job so that he can get fired and get out of Oklahoma State? And honestly, maybe even out of coaching, because it's like, how could you be this deep into the season and not have not set a starter and just be done with it?
Yep.
He should have done what Dion did and just name his kid starter. Say he brought in his, he wouldn't be Louis Vuitton. He brought in his LL Bean luggage, and we're good to go. If you want to know which LL Bean bag it is, it's the one that has the AON sticker locked on it. So I don't know, man. This is going to be a brutal watch.
Yeah, I don't see where the 36 points is coming from. And, even how bad Oklahoma State was last week against South Alabama, I'm not comfortable with Iowa State covering 3.5. I am not.
This will probably be a field goal game. I don't know. I'm thinking we're still gonna pull this one out. I think I'm gonna be the eternal optimist like Joey. I think Iowa State wins by at least a touchdown. I mean, look at it this way. We have one solid quarterback that we have been hyping up with his accuracy. Hasn't been throwing deep balls, but you know what his 3 deep balls did on Saturday? They were all complete, and they put us in better position. So maybe we're going to use this week where we're playing a putrid team, and first off, not make them look like the greatest show on turf. Maybe we'll actually compete and defeat a team like we're supposed to, like back at the UNI game.
Mm-hmm.
But, if Noel's going to be back, if we have our line with another game under its notch, maybe they're switching it up. And hopefully they switch up the offense. I know we're still trying to establish the run, but I want to see if in the first quarter and a half, we're not doing anything with the run. We need to start just passing, man. The clock is already running anyways, and you have a very limited amount of possessions. I mean, does anyone know if there's even like a rough number on the number of possessions you're going to get in a game at this point?
I don't.
I mean, it's from I think it was Kirby Smart that was talking to. It was the Georgia halftime, and he's talking about you're going to get 6 possessions. We need to score on 4 of them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being they had 7 possessions and they scored on 3 and they missed a field goal or something. But I mean, our offense isn't as good as that. So I mean, I'm counting on we get 5, maybe 6 possessions each half. I mean, we got to do something in the 10 to 12 possessions we're going to have in this game, because if we keep establishing run and burning our clock, all it's going to do is burn future possessions that we're going to have, and we need to do something, man. I think we can get it done, but our pass blocking is much better than our run blocking. We're still missing our best blocking tight end in Steve O'Klotz. I don't know. I just hope we can establish the pass, open up that run, because Cardavius Norton, Abu Sama, they're both good running backs, but if they're just going to stuff the line because they know we're going to rush for a 1 yard and kill momentum, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with it. We just need to change something up here.
Yeah, like you said, if it's not there in the first quarter to quarter and a half, even if you let it go for a quarter and a half and nothing's happening and you keep trying it, like I said, don't be stubborn for 3 quarters. Try something different.
Right.
Let Rocco throw the ball.
Let Rocco cook, man.
Let Rocco cook.
He has proven that he can, when you give him the offense and we have to score like the Iowa drive, and you can be methodical with it too, but you cannot keep going back to the run if it's not there. I don't care how much you want to establish it. Just pass the fucking ball until you finally let the defenses let up enough where they have to start defending it. Then get Norton in there. Get the 3 to 5 yard rush that you want. But when they keep just cramming everyone in and stopping the run, it's just like they just keep hitting their head against the wall, and they're wondering, why is my head hurt? Why is my head hurt? Wham! Why is my head hurt? Just do something, man.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Iowa touchdown when they opened it up. That's what happened against Ohio last week. When they had to score, they opened it up. Well, if you have to score, go do that all the time, like open it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're making the defense defend this much of the field instead of all of the field, it gets a little easier for the defense.
I mean, it seems like Shieldhouse is a young guy, and we all know that the head coach is going to be involved on both sides of things as is. But it just feels like, Heacock, he's been a head coach elsewhere. He was the head coach at Youngstown when they were successful back in the day. He knows how to command that offense. I wish they would just let Shieldhouse run this offense, because it's the same thing we were doing last year, man. It all comes back to this run. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but when you can establish a run is when you have NFL caliber running backs, and when you have these top tier talent. Iowa back in the day when they had 3 offensive linemen that went to the NFL and they had solid running backs. Yeah, you can establish the run because you're going to get 3 to 5 minimum every time because you have all that talent. We were able to do that with Brees. And then guess what? When you don't have that talent up front and you don't have the NFL running back and NFL quarterback there to kind of get some pressure off both sides, the offense isn't going to run the same.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So I don't know, man. It just seems like we're venting about it at this point, but I am just dying for a change that we know we've seen it like glimpses of it, and they're just not willing to do it for some reason.
Yep.
And this is the game that we need to do it. We can't, hey, let's break it out versus Texas. Let's break it out versus an Oklahoma that Matthews is staying in his khakis over, that's scoring 60 points a game. When we play them, we'll probably hold them to about half of that at least. But if we can only score 3 points, it doesn't matter if we held them to a sixth of it. You know, we just got to do something here, man.
So I got a question. Have our teams always been the Spider-Man meme where we're just the same and don't realize it? But we're just all in the extremes now, and that's how we're realizing it because they're both offensively inept for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's astounding, you know. But the big thing is like we also, you know, in in Iowa State in the Big 12 was everything. We were so extreme of like we were all air raid because we were trying to catch up with Mike Leach, and we had Baylor and TCU in the beginning of the playoffs where it's like, well, if you don't score at least 52 points a game, you're going to lose,
right?
You know, so we've kind of that, and that's where it kind of all started, and where everyone's kind of being optimistic was way back in the day when we lost to oh shit, what was the MAC school? Doesn't
Toledo.
matter. But we had it was Toledo, but we had this shitty Toledo loss.
Or it was Akron.
And that's when we developed this.
It was Akron.
It was Akron. Gotcha.
LeBron James.
But we had this shitty loss, and then we developed the 3-3-5. You know, so we had this very terrible MAC loss, innovated a defense that everyone is really trying to copy right now. I'm hoping we do something like that with the defense because we have this huge miracle outbreak this game. Get some people out of the gutter, realize that we're doing A-okay. We're, you know, we might not go bowling, but if we can get out of that rut, we're going to be just fine for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Right.
So, and Matthew's bragging about two teams in the top 25. It's Texas and Oklahoma in case you know, got your head in the sand, but I don't know. Oklahoma backed out of their only big matchup versus Georgia in the offseason. Didn't want to play a little scared. So I'm glad Venables is getting his easy wins versus your little iron skillet versus Tulsa and SMU, who's willing to play for free for the ACC. I mean, tough matchups there, Boomer.
Have fun winning now.
No, I wouldn't say that Gabriel is looking fucking great right now. So I don't know. They finally that was their whole thing last year. They just fucking didn't have an offense or defense. Now their offense is astounding. Defense is doing what they need to versus those shitty teams.
So can we comment on Oklahoma for just a second? Gabriel, is he going to play himself out of a job? He keeps running up the score, and then they put the second string guy in, and he looks fucking fantastic. At some point, they're going to throw him in and be like, well. Yeah, Gabriel. It's going to be the same thing as Caleb Williams coming in for was it Jalen Hurts? Yeah.
Hold on. So, easy, Joey. Do not bring up Caleb Williams or Lincoln Riley with an Oklahoma fan in here. They do not like that.
But I mean, as an Iowa fan, it must. I am so fucking jealous that you have two quarterbacks that can light it up, and one that's playing so well in the first half that they have to bring the second string in because they're up so big.
Gabriel should just like hold it to 35 points a game, so they're not pulling him.
If I'd be him, I'd be throwing that second half of the second quarter so I can play in the second half.
And just think, Joey, this is 2 years after they had both Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler on the same team.
That's what it was, Spencer Rattler. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Texas is looking legit. Wyoming is going to be scrappy this year, man. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if later in the year, the way they've played Texas and Texas Tech, I would say, I don't know. This is the 1 year, honestly, with as much hype that speaking of Texas, that we've heard about Texas year in and year out. This is the finally year where they can talk shit, but they've been talking shit the whole time. They're like, see, we finally told you. It's like, well, yeah, but if you know, what's it, the dead clock is right twice a day.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that.
Nope. I have official word from a huge Texas fan. He is a loyal listener. He has told me Texas is not back. He will let me know when they're back so we can announce it to the world. Not yet. Not yet. So
will they be back if they spank Oklahoma's ass 49-0 again?
We'll see. I don't know. He said he'll let me know. That way we can announce it on Amateur Hour, Pulse of the Heartland. We will let the world know the news when Texas is officially back from a
Can you also get information from him on where Arch Manning's going to go, because if Quinn Ewers is going to be there again next year, Arch Manning isn't going to be.
Once he transfers.
I don't know. I think Arch Manning stays. From everything I've seen and heard from like spring ball and everything. Sounds like he wasn't even like if they needed him to play right now, I'm pretty sure he's third string, isn't he?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's him, I don't know why you don't just stay, man. You're about to go SEC. You're probably getting paid millions just to be third string on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you think he ranks nationally right now in NIL money?
I think he's like third, isn't he?
Third in the country and third on the depth chart. What an
Yeah.
amazing! He's probably making more than the quarterbacks in the league there holding clipboards, man.
Probably. Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's Caleb Williams. I want to say Travis from Jordan Travis from Florida State, and then
Oh,
Arch Manning. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on the second one, but I'm pretty sure he's third.
is Travis Hunter up there still,
Mm,
or at all?
I don't think so. I don't think any of the Colorado guys have huge payouts yet, because
Yet.
Colorado's still trying to get money to pay Dion at this point.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have a deficit this year, man. I know, like for Iowa State, the We Will Collective, it's like, hey, if you want to donate $25 a month or whatever, and up to we're building that collective just to kind of like both our schools. Let's just keep, if we can secure any talent, let's try and keep it here.
Right.
We're not going to be outspending.
We're not
I bet you
buying
Colorado. Yeah,
to
we're not
come
out there
here.
buying.
Yeah.
Colorado probably can get that now.
Yep. Well, I mean, when you have the BET awards at your football game, that's when you bring the money in.
Who's the announcer that said
I
that?
don't know, but
'Cause
that's fucking hilarious.
Oh, it was just like, come on, like, yeah. Also, yes, like it was Lil Wayne. Who else was out there?
Offset.
Rock.
The Rock.
Okay, they did announce one, and I laughed because it was like, I'm not the youngest, hippest guy, but I know at least a majority of hip hop artists, and they're like, and look who's here, Key Glock, and I was like,
Who?
am I supposed to know who the fuck that is? Is that like? I mean, I don't know, man. That I actually went towards a drunkard's bridge. I'm not going to disagree with that, Matthews. I would say a collective win towards a drunkard's bridge. It helps us get safely back to the lots to drink at halftime. But also remember, we have 4 beers. We have a 4th one coming out that about $1 from every 6-pack is going to go towards the until our NIL and collectives and stuff. So we're about to have a gold bridge here pretty soon. We're just going to spray the thing like the top of the like Capitol building and shit.
Going pee on it, or
Oh yeah, we're all gonna wear shades too,
Yeah.
gold shades,
that's right.
cardinal and gold. So, other than that, I would say, have you guys looked at all the other matchups? How many huge matchups we have this weekend?
Yes.
I mean, I was considering like, oh, I should go to Des Moines or like come up with some plan. Dude, I'm gonna park my ass fucking in front of the TV all day. We have.
You can legitimately come to Missouri if you want and just sit on my couch all day. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Oh, there we go. Well, I would say I have some car problems. Otherwise, I would probably take you up on that because I just need something where I can sit comfortably and watch these games.
Hell
just
yeah.
to kind of go through these. We have 6 ranked matchups. It is the most since September 16th, 2006, when they had 7 matchups.
Really?
Yeah, but we have Colorado, 19 Colorado at 11 Oregon, 22 at 11 Utah, 15 Ole Miss at 13 Alabama, which that looks fucking weird. Alabama not in the single digits.
Right.
Insane. 14 Oregon State at 21 Washington State. Number 6 Ohio State at 9 Notre Dame, 24 Iowa, 7 Penn State that we've talked about. And then the 7th, what should have been ranked matchup, 4 Florida State at unranked Clemson, but they're at 26 right now with the votes.
Yep.
So, which I want us to go around. Which is our favorite matchup for the weekend here? Outside of I mean, you guys can say your own, but
I have 2.
let's hear them.
I think Oregon is going to slap Colorado back to reality. I'm tired of seeing all this Boulder coverage and everything like that. I'll admit it's getting old.
Mhm.
But I do like Dion with his antics. Like, it's fun, brings a little bit of something different to college football. So I do think Oregon's.
Hold on, real quick.
I think Oregon's going to go
specifically,
ballistic on them.
Do you think Dion is doing some of this? I've had this thought, and I want to make sure I'm not just going crazy. Do you think some of this is to bring all of the attention off of golly, I'm blanking. Hunter, the wide receiver cornerback, and Shador and Shiloh. Do you think he's doing these antics to get the attention away from the team and just all eyes on me while the team doesn't get any of the speculation? Or do you think that's just kind of part of it and it's just Prime being Prime?
I think it's a mixture of both. Like, I think it's him being himself, but I think it's also like I want my players to stay away from a lot of not stay away from the media, but I don't want all this attention onto them. But I think it's like a mixture. Probably more like a 75% all him, 25% to protect the players. But I really do think Oregon's going to just put a hurting on them, probably, more than likely. And then my next favorite game is the Florida State Clemson game. And remember that old country singer, John Anderson, that
Seminole Wind,
where he sings about yep. Instead of a Seminole Wind, it's a Seminole Wind.
It's my favorite country song of all time.
Holy cow, that's my number 2.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it's a Seminole Wind and not a wind. So,
Seminole Wind. I like it. Joey, how about you?
I'm really interested in the Ohio State Notre Dame game. I think that's it's the only top 10 matchup, but I also think it's a game where both of them can try and go all out, because really, even with a loss, it's going to be a good loss, and both can still make the playoff, to be honest with you. So,
is it because it's also an early loss and a good loss? Are we talking playoff committee speak here?
It's perfect storm, man, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really interested to see if, because I'm pretty sure Ohio State finally named a starter for the season, and I can't wait to see that matchup against Notre Dame's defense. And this will be the first big defensive test for Sam Hartman. Let's see if he's actually legit or if he's just been beaten up on cupcakes. So pumped for that game. And if I had to pick a second one, obviously Iowa, Penn State. So, but sleeper game that's going to be fucking bananas. Oregon State, Washington State. I know Bryant and I both picked Oregon State as a dark horse out of the Pac-12. Those teams, I know I was talking to Don about it in the YouTube chat. Those teams have been putting up points. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 110 points scored in that game.
Yep.
That was my game. That was my game to watch.
I have Oregon State by a touchdown on that.
Oregon State and Washington State.
If DJ can play like he's been playing all year, where he's getting 4 to 5 touchdowns, I think Washington State is just a step below. They're still solid. You know, the Pac-2 is strong with that's the only technical conference, those two teams that are everyone's ranked. You know, I have Oregon State winning that one. I just gotta stay strong with them. I'm a Beaver believer.
Hell yeah.
I would say I gotta say probably the other one, and I have a little vested interest. Me and Joey are in a Heisman group right now, and I have both quarterbacks in that game. So that is going to be the game. Is Florida State for real? You know they beat up on LSU, who's looked fine, but like, are they going to take this next step? Is Florida State going? We're here for the playoffs. Is that are we legit? And honestly, with Clemson, Cade Klubnik, where was this guy that was covering spreads and doing all this shit last year?
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
Right.
I was just going to say, do you think Clemson, looking back now, is like, oh, I wish we had DJ back?
Oh, yeah. I definitely think DJ would have won them that Duke game. 100%.
No, they looked awful in that game.
Did. Yep.
Just terrible.
Another one that's going to be – it's not as interesting just from an outsider's perspective, but Ole Miss, everyone hypes them up every single year, and they're one of my teams that pisses me off because it's like, look how good they are. It's like, but they lose to Bama, they lose to Georgia, they lose to LSU, they lose to literally the only good teams they play all year. It's like, yeah, but they beat Mississippi State. It's like, well, who gives a shit? They beat, they have 8 wins. They're 4 out of conference games that are absolute dog shit, playing the Citadel and Southern Miss, and then they beat up on the 4 bottom SEC teams. this is the first time where you have a very weak Alabama team compared to what they're what team that they typically have. Is Lane Kiffin going to take the next step and actually beat Alabama? You know, because I'm getting tired of them piddling around saying Ole Miss is great, Ole Miss is great. You're going to float somewhere between 8 and 20 every year because you play fucking nobody and you don't establish anything. And then when you do lose versus an Alabama, Georgia, you don't drop. It's the whole SEC favoritism thing that we discussed year in and year out, where they don't drop because it's good losses. And it's going to be the same thing with Ohio State in this. Actually, you know, really all these matchups, they're not going to drop because of a good loss. They just need to. Is Ole Miss going to take the next step, or are they just going to keep edging and pretend like they're a very good school when in reality they're fucking not? They're just a benefit of an easy schedule with their talent.
Right. And so
I say, please.
Saban is still 28-2. He's undefeated against all other former assistants besides Kirby Smart. So that's something to consider too. Can Lane break that curse? And
Sark, 28-3 then. Because Sark used to be an assistant with them.
Yeah, that's right. So this stat's old. That's correct.
Yeah. So I mean, but so there it is. There's a chink in the armor right there. Can Lane take the next? That's all I'm saying. Can he just get to the next step, or is he just going to be okay with 8-4? They're going to pay him millions of dollars, and we're all jealous of it. I'm jealous of an 8-4 consistent. You know that's the one thing about Iowa fans I'm always jealous on. It's always minimum 7-5 to 9-3. You know, maybe the sneak in the double-digit win season with the bowl season or whatever. But Ole Miss is just that bottom. It's talking all this shit that you're so great, and they don't take the next step.
Man, I'm an idiot. So he's 28-2. Kirby Smart is not put into that, and it's Jimbo Fisher and Sark. So, yeah.
Well, that's what I was just thinking as well. I was like, didn't Texas A&M? I didn't want to shit all over the stat, Joey, but I was like, that. I know it was right like 2 years ago.
This is what happens. We don't read all the way down like an idiot. But to touch again on Alabama, though, their offensive line has looked really, really bad so far this year, and I keep going back and watching it. I'm like, man, I really, really hope that Caden Proctor's also a piece of shit because he didn't go to Iowa. No, he's their one bright spot. That dude's going to be an All-American. He is so fucking good.
I think we've talked about it before, but you know, Oklahoma State has had terrible quarterback play, and you're going, well, what about Spencer Sanders? That was a 3-year starter there. Well, he left before the bowl game. He's at Ole Miss right now, and he's third string.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they got athlete. I just want to throw that little tidbit there, but he's not even a starter, man.
Yeah, Jackson Dart, man, that kid can sling it.
Yeah. Throwing darts out there.
Yeah. So they bring this up on one of the podcasts I listened to. Out of the SEC West, is there a top 20, 25 quarterback in the nation in the SEC? In the SEC, period.
Yeah, first off, no offense, God, this sounds bad coming from me because I am too, but they might have some of the ugliest quarterbacks in the country too. I mean, you just start from east to fucking west, and you start with Spencer Rattler, Jesus. and then you get to Carson Beck, and Carson Beck makes Mike Glennon look normal. Look at giraffe neck. As far as them having a top quarterback, I don't know.
Shit.
Will Rogers is not great. He's a little above average. I mean, every one of them has their flaws. I mean, even at least Stetson Bennett, as much as we like to shit on him, he had the leadership, he had the experience, he didn't turn the ball over a lot. The accuracy, you know. Go ahead.
Is he my age?
What are you? A couple years from retirement over there, or?
I was just wondering.
The Colorado
State
kicker is actually 31. He's from England.
Yeah, 3 kids.
There's someone else that's 34. I saw too.
Oh, really? Shit.
I think it's another kicker that's like 34.
It's the Miami punter, I think.
Man, maybe I can ruin my knee like Nick Chubb.
Yeah. That was the most disgusting knee injury. Like, I'm like, I can get through this just fine. You watch gory movies, and that was just like, your knee's not supposed to. It was just the shudder down your spine. Knee's not supposed to go that way, dude.
Nope. He's had 2 of the top 3 worst knee injuries I've ever seen. And
I know the third, or I can guess it.
Yeah, no, I texted it.
Willis.
Well, not yours.
Oh no, I texted it in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
Willis
Willis McGahee. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the worst I've ever seen. Seeing the femur break that bad.
And
like
that wasn't
was
even
worse than-
that wasn't even an HD time. That was still standard definition.
yeah.
remember Marcus Lattimore, that running back for South Carolina?
Oh,
He had a disgusting one.
oh man. Yeah. God damn.
Yeah,
I don't
that
remember
one's up
his.
there. I don't remember Willis McGahee's.
I do.
Off the top of
I
my
remember
head.
watching that live.
Oh, that was one of the grossest things I've ever
Yeah, I
seen.
remember
Yep.
watching
Don
watching
knows
the
who you're
femur.
talking about. Lattimore.
Oh, Lattimore, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. But yeah. So honestly,
I'll have to
You
look
know,
that one up.
couple prayers, prayers for Nick Chubb and prayers for my fantasy team. He was my number one running back, just awful. And also Saquon was my other starter, so I'm down my top two running backs. Just prayers for me, everyone. F's in the chat, that'd be fantastic. So I don't know, man. I'm excited that now that we're talking about good matchups, I'm more excited about Iowa State now. We're gonna get a dub. I'm gonna watch Iowa play a good game versus Penn State, but I'm also gonna be flipping between the other ranked games. I don't know. I just need I need at least Oregon State and or Penn State to make it to the playoffs here the rest of the year, and then I'll feel good about this year, no matter how Iowa State does, because I called a dark horse or something. We just need that.
Yeah. There it is. There it is.
So I don't know. Anything else you guys want to chat about here?
No.
Oh, we didn't talk about. Did you guys see Caitlin Clark won I forgot she won the James Sullivan Award. I really don't know what that is. Joey, you've had Spencer Lee win that. Is it a huge deal?
Sure. I don't know. I'm glad that two Iowa people have won it, but I have no idea.
Yeah. The people, they're online. It's one of those, she's going to get the media attention.
Mhm.
They're saying it's like older than the Heisman, so apparently it's prestigious. No offense, it's not the Heisman. I thought it was the Ed Sullivan Award for the longest time, and someone correct me, it's the James Sullivan, so there's a little difference. We're posing a hypothetical here at work, and I'm going to bring it to you now. I forgot to put it in the agenda. First, does Caitlin Clark stay the final 2 years here at Iowa and just become a legend? And then, do you think there is any possible chance that she would go immediately from playing NCAA to coaching in NCAA?
So I think she'll stay both years because she will make more money in NIL than she will in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And
By like tenfold.
if she goes straight from playing to coaching, same thing. She's going to make more money coaching a Division I college basketball team than playing in the WNBA. Now, the competitor in her, though, I think she'll go play somewhere.
Yeah. Iowa fans, do you think there's some validity to that theory?
Oh, I 100% agree with Trent. I don't think she. Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead. I was looking up the award. So the award that she won.
Yeah, I don't. I think she stays. I mean, there's no reason for her to go to the WNBA. She's making too much money now. I don't know about coaching. I could definitely see her going overseas and making more money over there with the name recognition type thing. I don't know.
The reason I bring up the coaching part is because, like we've talked about, first off, I think if she went to the coaching, like my harebrained idea is, it would kill the WNBA. You have the biggest star. Angel Reese is literally only a big star because she was trying to shit talk a player. Yeah, because of that. It's because she was shit talking the biggest star. Let's not feign like everyone all year was talking about Angel Reese.
Right.
But she is the biggest star. Iowa just sold out their women's season tickets all year.
Mm-hmm.
If she can do that for the next 2 years of the University of Iowa, Bluter's your coach, correct?
Yep.
If she were happen to retire in 2 years, I don't know why Iowa wouldn't offer her just immediate top tier money to come back. Because of anything, or really any university that is good or bad, why would you not offer her the Dion deal? Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark is the Dion of women's college basketball. Why would you not offer top tier money and get someone that is going to sell out your arena in arguably it's not even arguably, it's a sport that doesn't make a money,
Yep.
you know.
Right.
Men's football is the 90%, men's basketball is probably the 10%. Women in every other sport, men's and women's on the backside, wrestling, everything, doesn't make a money. But if you can get a money-making machine out of her it's worth the salary, even if they don't go to the tournament or something.
Yeah, and I mean, she's homegrown talent. You keep her in the state. Like, she never, ever goes anywhere else besides the state of Iowa to play or coach. Like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. I mean, hell,
Yeah,
what
I
if
think
Kentucky
it's
loses their women's basketball
deal.
coach?
Right.
I think overall, I think she stays for 2 years. I think if she goes to the WNBA, could turn into she could be a next star there. I mean, but I think overall, the NIL, yeah, she's gonna make way more money doing that. But I think the going over to Europe is something that I could easily see also. But back to the award that she won today is the annual award given out to the most outstanding athlete or collegiate, or wait, how's that worded? The most outstanding athlete at the collegiate or Olympic level in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. So no offense, why was Zach Edey there then?
Sounds like it's a pretty big deal.
I'm looking at the all-time scores points in women's basketball here. I'm trying to see if Caitlin Clark is even cracking the. She's not in the top 25 right now. I'm not sure how much farther down she is. I mean, I imagine she's probably gonna be halfway through that list, at least through this year. But I don't know. I think Trent is bringing up the only point. It makes so much sense to become the legend and coach and everything. I just think the competitor in her would not allow her to stop playing basketball immediately and go into coaching.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I just think if she goes to the WNBA, she's going to run into other players that, are very, very talented. She's not going to be able to run a team because she's going to have other players on the team that are just as talented as her. I agree. I mean, if she's a competitor, she's going to want to win. It's just going to be tougher, a lot tougher for her in the WNBA.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Then, no offense, you don't even taint the, Maya Moore had some other stuff, but like think of all these names of Sabrina, whatever her name was. Sorry, I don't remember her last name. It's like Iadensa, the one that Kobe loved.
Yeah.
There's all these.
Yep.
But there's a bunch of these women that are stars in college women's basketball. Immediately go to the WNBA, and you just never hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
The only one you hear about is Brittany Griner and Candace Parker, and that's because they dunk twice a season, and they put that as the top highlight of the night for, top 10 plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time you ever hear about them. So, I don't know. I think it would almost grow because, I hear about these coaches that start super young. Matt Campbell started when he was young. It would be interesting to be like, all right, you're going to, we're going to have a 24-year-old that's in love with this game, and she's just going to go out there and start recruiting 19-year-olds going, hey, do you want to be the next me? Come play for University of Iowa. Come play for Kentucky. Whoever ends up taking her,
Mm-hmm.
So
I think you'd be able to be on it and if you get 2 to 3 all-stars on a 5-player team, you're set in women's basketball. You could have one stud as Iowa shows you. If you have one absolute stud on your team, you're probably making at least Sweet 16.
Right.
So Caitlin Clark is 809 points behind the all-time leading scorer.
Never mind. It's this season.
She could break. I mean, in a 20. So I did the math. In a 28 game season, that's 28.9 points per game to get there this season. If they played 28 games, which they, if you played all your regular season, conference tournament, NCAA tournament, you're playing more than 28 games.
Yeah, she's breaking it this year, and then senior season is just a cherry on top. We were talking to work that she just needs to Pete Maravich this shit and make it so unreachable, and then you're just legend status.
She's averaged 27.2 points in her career over 100 games.
Jesus Christ.
Last year they played 38 games. So what is that? 809 divided by 38.
Mm.
So if they played that many games, that's only 21 points a game.
Done. She's getting it this year. Do you know the only team that's held her to single digits?
Iowa State.
I thought it was Northwestern.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, shit, you said it with such confidence. I think she played Northwestern her freshman year, and she scored 8 points.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like a 0-point performance. She just shit the bed. No, it was still 8 points.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's the only time in her career.
Just a couple years ago, too, Iowa had another stud, Megan Gustafson.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
she was 25th on that list I was just looking at.
Yeah. So it'd been cool. Like, it would be cool if they got to play together, like in their primes, because I really think LSU would have lost big time last year. Like, if you could have put them two on the same team, whole nother game.
No, they're both studs. The state of Iowa's had some decent players in the last 5 years?
Iowa State, Ashley Jones, she was 9th all time scoring in NCAA history.
Yep.
3,060.
So, I don't know. I just thought that was a fun little hypothetical thinking about if she – I just don't think she can. I think it would honestly bankrupt the WNBA. If their biggest star that could go in there and she goes, nah, I'm just going to coach. Or I'm just going to do anything else.
Nah, I'm good.
I'm going to go for what my degree was.
Yeah.
Just insurance salesman.
Communications.
Saleswoman. Sorry. But alrighty. Well, you guys got anything else? Should we wrap it up here?
Wrap it up.
Alrighty. Well, appreciate everyone joining, listening in. Don, thanks for asking us about some of our bets. I think you just bet a lot of unders on our teams. I think you're gonna make a lot of decent money here. But yeah, if everyone wants to join us going forward, just our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at Heartland Pulse, Facebook, YouTube, Pulse the Heartland. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.
Go Hawks.